Right here we have some nice fish. It's a 13-inch mangrove, got a 13-inch yellowtail, yellowjack, 2 other yellowtails. Those would be some pretty nice fish for our area, but we went down to the Keys for a day and that's what we caught. We're going to go clean these guys up and I'm going to show you guys how to clean these fish. Okay, so this is about a 13-inch yellowtail snapper. I'm going to show you guys how to clean this. First, what you're going to do, this is a 7-inch Danco knife. We've used this a lot. This is my favorite knife that I've used. It's also one of the only knives I've used. First, what you're going to do, right behind the head, you'll feel where you can see this big scale right here, right behind it. There's all your soft meat. You go right there, cut a little bit towards the head, and a little bit of an angle. There's not a lot of meat right here. It's just some ribs. So we're going to cut down about this angle. Down by the ribs, you don't want it to go too deep because you might risk puncturing some organs. But here, you're going to go a little bit deeper. Well, you'll feel the backbone, so you're going to stop cutting. And right here along the spine, you're going to insert your knife right here. You're going to slide it all the way down the backbone until you get to the tail. You might need to saw at it a little bit for a second, but then it should come pretty easily. You need a very sharp knife to do this, especially to get through the scales of this snapper. Next, what you're going to begin doing is pulling away at the meat. Right here, I've opened up a little pocket, and you're just going to keep stroking your knife down, hugging the spine. You're going to work that all the way down the fish until you get to the pin bones. Then, what I like doing is I'll flip the fish over, and I'll do all of that again. There we go. I just filleted that one side and I'll finish filleting this side. So now that you're down here, your knife will actually stop. These are the pin bones. They go right out from the spine. You're just going to crack through these bones with your knife blade and continue down. You're just going to continue pulling the meat, or I should say cutting the meat, off all the bones. I'm going to do this until I get all the way down. Then once you get down to the skin on the belly of the fish, you're just going to cut all the way through. Just cut along that skin. It shouldn't be very hard because it's only skin. Then you're going to cut right through the tail. Look at that. You have a fillet of fish. And I hugged those bones pretty well. That's both sides of the fish. I got most of the meat off this fish. I think I did a pretty good job. Next, I'm going to show you how to fillet a yellowjack. Here's a little side note I just realized. If you're throwing these in a canal and you don't want your neighbors to hate you, you should probably slit the eyes. They contain some air. This one contains a little bit of more air. When you slit the eyes, they'll sink in the canal. So if you don't want your neighbors to hate you, make sure you slit those eyes. And what else you're going to do? I completely forgot about this. You're going to skin the fish. So once we got it off the fillet, you're going to put your knife right on the edge of this. With your fingernails, I'm just grabbing this little tab of skin. You're going to turn that knife right parallel with your cutting board. Hold it as flat as you can, and you're just going to begin cutting down. Then you're going to grab that tab of meat and pull it through the knife all the way down. There you go. I just got the skin off, one piece. With mackerel, they're generally harder to skin, but this guy, I got the skin off. And see, when you crack through the pin bones, you actually leave some in the fillet. I just had a few bones up here that you take out. But right down the middle, I don't know if you can tell, but that's a bloodline right there. It's harder to tell on this side, but the pin bones run right through the bloodline. What you're gonna do, take your knife and just cut right around those pin bones. They run for around the first third of your fillet. Once you get them out, it should look like this. You just notched it out and took out some of the meat. Most importantly, you took out the pin bones. I'm gonna save this for some fish in the canal, I guess. And do the same thing to the other fillet. This right here is a mangrove snapper. They have some very sharp teeth. You can see in his mouth, and they're called snapper because whenever you hook them, they will stick out their jaws basically and try and snap at you. But they taste very good. They have some nice firm, delicious meat. You can make burgers out of these, and you can also eat these sashimi. We're gonna start by just making sure, yep, that's where the gill plate starts, and we're just gonna follow the meat down. We want to maximize the amount of flesh we can get onto this, off of this fillet. I'm just gonna slice right through that. These snappers have some pretty big scales, so you just need to do a little bit of sawing to get these off the fish. We're gonna follow that backbone down, just like that. And we're basically just trying to peel the meat off the bones. I'm gonna do the same exact thing to the other side. The reason why I don't take off one fillet and then do the other fillet is because once the fish loses that structure, the spine will bend, making it a little bit harder to hug the backbone with your knife. This guy we caught just using some live shrimp. We were throwing them around some pilings on one of the bridges in the Keys. From what we heard from some other fishermen, we did pretty well because most people couldn't catch anything besides catfish and sharks. But I'm just following those ribs down. These guys, they don't have a very big backbone, so I don't need to come in from the belly and clear off that piece of meat. Just gonna saw right through that, right through the tail. Pretty nice piece of meat. Gonna clean off that other side. Same thing, break through those pin bones. Saw all the way down to the tail. Just gonna break right through to here. If I can. Maybe I can't. Yeah, it's not letting me. And don't worry. Just gonna keep following that rib cage all the way down until we get to that skin of the stomach. Just gonna cut that. And just like that, we have a nice fillet of mangrove snapper. Slit the eyes. What we have here are our fish. We have them all packaged up in some Ziploc bags wrapped in paper towels. These paper towels will suck out some of the moisture out of the fillets, increasing their shelf life. After about 6 hours or so, you should change out the paper towels to optimize its shelf life. Let's get to cooking.